You are listening to Beyond the Wheel, a podcast about the people and ideas that drive the RV community forward.
Looking to get out there and stay out there? Battleborn Batteries lithium-ion batteries are here to power your RV, marine, and off-grid adventures. Designed as an easy drop-in replacement for traditional lead-acid batteries, these reliable solutions have 2 to 3 times the power, charge 5 times faster, are a fifth of the weight, and last 10 times longer. Offered in a variety of models in unique sizes and shapes, ranging from 50 amp hour to a robust 270 amp hour, and backed by a 10-year warranty. Battleborn batteries are built to fit your needs and power your experiences. On the road, on the water, and off the grid, reliable power is here. Check them out at battlebornbatteries.com.
Welcome to the Beyond the Wheel podcast. In today's episode, we're going to bring you the final day of the FMCA convention in beautiful Tucson in 2024. In this episode, we have 2 incredible interviews lined up for you. First, we'll be talking to Wayne from Liquid Spring, a company that's revolutionizing the RV experience with their cutting-edge smart suspension system. If you've ever dreamed of a smoother, more comfortable ride in your RV, you won't want to miss this. Next, we'll be joined by Steve from Grouper, an innovative startup in the healthcare space. Grouper is on a mission to help Medicare-eligible individuals get out and socialize more, improving their overall well-being and quality of life. Mike's insights and passion for this cause really come out in the interview. So sit back, relax, and join us for these fascinating conversations. Let's jump in.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 4 of the FMCA convention out here in beautiful Tucson, Arizona. We're joined by Liquid Spring, and we have Wayne here, Wayne Wells from Liquid Spring. And Wayne, if you could, just kind of introduce yourself and let us know what your role over at Liquid Springs is.
Sure. Wayne Wells, Liquid Spring. I am the RV sales manager for the Liquid Spring product on the RV side of things. So I do all of the OE and aftermarket sales for RVs.
Okay. And you said for the RV side of things, what else does Liquid Spring?
Liquid Spring, I'll give you a quick overview of the company, if that's
Sure.
okay.
Yeah.
So we are a compressible liquid suspension, and we have suspensions for the ambulance, emergency vehicle market, the adventure truck market, transit bus, motorhome, RV. We're starting into some of the pickup stuff. We also do suspensions for big mining equipment, like underground mining equipment. That's actually where the company first started. But that's just kind of a quick overview of the company and what products we do have currently. We branch out into some other stuff that's specialty, but it's usually particular to a single client at that point.
Okay.
And so how would you best describe what Liquid Springs does for the RVer?
So what we have is we have a compressible liquid suspension. So on most of the RVs, we're removing a leaf spring suspension. So in your standard leaf spring suspension, it's kind of a rough ride and, what loads has to unload. Our suspension, we're using a silicone-based fluid in a closed-loop hydraulic system, basically, and it absorbs the energy rather than passing it back up into the motorhome. So what you get is a very compliant ride, so it's smooth and soft, but being as it's a liquid, we can very rapidly control how much of that liquid the suspension has available to compress. So in 40 milliseconds, we can ramp the spring rate up about 8 times, and then back down to that compliant ride, and it does it really fast. So when you go around a corner, a truck passes you, a gust of wind hits you, it'll move once and stop. There's none of this secondary motion. I mean, the easiest way to describe it is like when you go out of a driveway and you're going at an angle and you get 4 or 5 oscillations, our coach will go once and stop, and you don't have all that secondary motion and all the impacts and banging that's going up into the coach. Your coach is going to last longer. You're going to be more comfortable driving. You'll be able to drive for longer distances. I mean, if you say, hey, our driving distance is 200 miles a day and we're going to stop because I'm tired, I'm beat, you could double that without a problem. I mean, I will drive until I have to put fuel in the coach or have to use the restroom.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to go for a test ride with one of your Class A motorhomes that had the liquid spring installed. And just like you said, you noticed the difference just coming out of the
Oh, yeah.
driveway of the parking lot. Currently in my RV, it's a Class A gas, and you have that few times of a rock back and forth, but nothing like that with the liquid spring. It holds you steady.
Yep.
Switching lanes holds you steady. Gust of wind was holding us steady. But there was also a really nice feature that my wife and I enjoyed that I believe the one that we test drove had 3 modes that we could
Yep.
change it from sport, comfort,
And normal.
And normal. Could you talk a little bit about those 3
So,
modes?
so each one of those modes, the difference between the modes is the speed at which our suspension reacts. So comfort, it's going to try not to react as much. So some of those impacts and whatnot, it's just going to let you kind of float over them. It'll let the body roll a little more. As you start ramping it up, when you get up into sport, it's very reactive. So you'll feel the road a little more, but you'll feel very little body roll. I mean, it's going to really fight that body roll and all those impacts. But again, everybody has a preferential place they like to drive. What I tell people when they get our suspension put on a vehicle, drive it as many times as you can in all the different positions. Just play with it. It's switch on the fly, so you just push a button, it changes. But it truly is a smart suspension. There's very little driver intervention needed to drive it. Our suspension is doing all of that. And it is a dynamic change on a motorhome. I mean, I tell people it's hard for me to oversell it because it really does what we say it's going to do.
Yeah, it was really a nice experience. I also noticed, I don't know if you noticed this as well, but I felt as if when we came to a stop, we didn't have that forward lean in when stopping also. It kept us level, even pulling up to a red light.
Yeah, it absolutely. That's our suspension is sensing speed, steering, braking, and ride height, and that's what's telling it what to do. So it's always trying to maintain that level plane. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it won't dive. You don't get a lot of brake dive. I would venture to guess, and I mean, I've never really tested it, but I'd venture to guess in a Class A gas motorhome, you're going to stop 30 feet shorter at 60 miles an hour because you don't get that momentum pushing you forward.
Yeah, I would assume the same, yeah.
And when you're getting this installed, is it by axle, or you do all axles at once?
So some vehicles we only have rear. Some vehicles we have front and rear. With our suspension, you have to do a rear. We won't do a front without a rear. Most customers to this point, they're going to want to do they do 4 corners. There are some manufacturers where they only offered it as a rear suspension out of the factory, and most of those customers, or a lot of those customers, have come back to us and had a front put on. I mean, it is truly dynamic what it does for a vehicle, and that's why we try, when we come to a show, we try to bring a motorhome with us for people to test drive. Like at this show, we have a Winnebago out there we're doing test drives in. We brought a Super C to this show. We actually brought a Renegade that we have upfitted that on Sunday, if anybody's at the show watching this, I don't know when you air, we'll have it ready. We will take it for rides after when the show closes just because of where it is. But again, if you're at the show and you want to do a test drive, we're in booth 301 here. Come see us, and we will absolutely love to take you for a ride.
And what about like tag axle motorhomes? How does it just get installed on one of those tag axles?
To this point, we haven't done any tag axle motorhomes, but it would be all points if we did a suspension on a tag. At this point, I'm trying to think if we've done any tag axle or 6-axle vehicles. I don't know that we've done one, but I know we do all 6 corners if it had a tag.
Also, back at the Hershey show when I was speaking with you, you were telling me about something called True Earth Leveling. True Earth Leveling. Could you explain a little bit what that is?
So we're just releasing that right now. We'll probably start shipping that product in the middle to the end of April. But basically, it allows you to level your coach with our suspension so the jacks don't even have to go down. So if you're somewhere where you can't use jacks, it'll level. If you're somewhere you don't want to mess with the jacks, it'll it will stay right where you put it.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's I have Dynamax is starting to offer a vehicle on the Izata 5 with our suspension. and they're calling it their Extreme Edition. They're putting on oversized tires and wheels and what, but they're removing the standard leveling system off the coach and just using ours as their leveling system. So somewhat like air leveling on a diesel or a air ride coach.
Okay.
And what about installation? This is something that are there dealers around the country that can install this, or do they have to come directly to you?
No, we have dealers all over the country. So if you're somewhere around the country and you want to know what we have, if you go to our website, it has a dealer locator, or feel free to call our facility and we will help you find a shop. But yeah, we have lots of dealers around the country that do a very good job for us. Just everybody needs to bear in mind that if you have a suspension put on a coach that's already built, it's going to be, if you do front and rear, it's going to be about a 5-day event. I mean, it'll take a while. It's about 40 hours of install time.
And it's not a DIY type of thing.
No. I've had a few people do that, but I try to give them that warning up front that you better be prepared and you better have some real tools.
Okay.
Yeah, if you've ever taken a leaf spring pack out of a vehicle, that's basically what you're doing 4 times. And then you have the holes you have. It's a job. I mean, I would encourage you, if you're going to have one done, to take it to a professional.
Other than leaf springs being removed off the RV, anything else that comes off the stock suspension?
So shock absorbers go away, leaf springs go away. Pretty much everything else will stay in place. Aftermarket products, if you have aftermarket products on, most of that will go away also. If you have a steering stabilizer of some sort, that'll stay, but pretty much everything else is going to be removed with our suspension.
Okay.
I would think with a silicone fluid in there and the pressures, it's got to be pretty solid, so the weight's got to be incredible.
The weight of our suspension?
Yeah.
So like on an F53 chassis, if you do both front and rear, it's going to add about 550 pounds to your coach.
Okay.
After you take everything off and put ours on. In most coaches, not a problem at all. There are some coaches that you're bouncing against that GVW anyway.
Right.
But most of them have plenty of capacity.
Okay.
We do the full testing before we'll put one on the road, and it's not over designed, but it's definitely not gonna have a failure. I mean, we have vehicles out there on the ambulance side that have 750,000 miles on them now.
Nice. And you had said that some people do want to tackle this as a DIY project, but I know there is a computer component to it because you do have the different modes. Is this something that after it's installed needs to be programmed? Is it?
The computer, or our system, when you install it, will calibrate itself. Oh, wow. You push a button and it will actually calibrate the heights and everything on it. All the vehicles are built for that particular vehicle, so we have a standard program that's in that software when you get it. Okay. So it'll do, you do have to tap into the electrical system on the vehicle to get some of the signals. Now, on the motorhomes, almost all the motorhomes have upfitter wires that are run for that purpose. So you're not having to cut into something you shouldn't be. Okay. There's a blunt cut wire under the dash for what we're doing.
Okay.
And then after it's installed, what does the owner have to do as far as preventive maintenance or anything like that?
There really is no preventive maintenance other than a visual inspection. Check the fluid once in a while. We do recommend when you have a suspension put on, after you've driven it for 1,500 miles, either have it retorqued or do a visual inspection of the torque marks on it, just to make sure. And that's just standard suspension lingo. But truly, our suspension is relatively bulletproof. It's mechanical. There's things but for the most part, on a motorhome, the duty cycle is so low compared to the other industries we're in that we don't have a lot of issues with that kind of stuff.
So no fluid changes, oil change, or any?
That fluid's lifetime. We do have a filter under there it's basically for moisture, and it's bright pink kind of, and if it gets to where it's white, change that filter. But again, on the motorhome side of stuff, I doubt very many motorhomes will ever have to change that. The ambulance guys seem to go places that maybe they should, well, they have to, but motorhomes aren't going to go in those same types of situations where they're driving through water that they really shouldn't be going through and that type of thing. Okay. But we just want to keep fluid out of our system.
How long has Liquid Spring been around?
Liquid Spring's been in business for about 25 years. We've really been on highway for about 12 years, and that was the ambulance market started that. And just a little background on that. So they came into the ambulance market kind of slow, and that was the market they started in. And within a year and a half, they had about 98% of all ambulance market in the U.S. and Canada were using our suspension. They basically, air suspension went away from that market completely. I mean, it is a very, like you took it for a ride. It's a very dynamic product. It does exactly what we say it does.
Yeah, I would say that it increases confidence behind the wheel for sure.
If you have somebody that won't drive, if you have a partner that won't drive the coach, put them in one of ours and they'll drive it.
Yeah, it was Sabrina drove it, and she doesn't drive ours at all.
What about things like, there's a lot of RVers now going to vans, van-size vehicles. Could you see a liquid spring suspension being put on those?
We are working that direction. We're kind of downsizing right now. We're slowly going into the pickup market. And after the pickup market, I would guess we will probably go to some of the van type stuff, the Transits and the ProMasters. We have some of that. We're doing a little bit on the ambulance side that we're just starting. But right now, so to give you on the RV side of things, we can do all the E-Series stuff. We can do the F550 600s, the Ram 5500s, all the F53s from 16 to 26,000, the International MV 607, the CVs, the Chevy 5500s. We basically cover all of that, and we're trying to get more and more product. But again, we are vehicle specific, so it's a little bit more challenging. I mean, a design cycle on a suspension is going to be at least 6 months, probably closer to a year. So the next one we're kind of heading toward is probably going to be the Freightliner M2 S2 RV stuff, because we seem to get a lot of calls for those.
Okay. And you said the E-Series, so Class C motorhome as well.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that you did Class C.
Yeah, we can do E350, 450. We actually retrofit a pretty good number of those. Okay. We really haven't gone after the OE market on those. Just price point is more of an issue on those.
If you're putting it in, say, an F-150, does it alter their payload in any way?
No, we're going to match GVW. We're never going to say, oh, you can carry more.
That's what I was wondering.
I mean, could you? Absolutely. Okay. But we will never say that.
Well, most people do already anyway.
Yeah, they do. But the liability factor of that one is...
Okay.
Yeah. So we do all the FMCA shows. We do Hershey and Tampa. And then it's kind of hit and miss what else we do. But we do those 4 shows pretty much wherever they're at.
Okay.
We do some dealership or manufacturer rallies just because they use our products. So some of the manufacturers do use our product. We will be at their rallies. Mainly Hershey, Tampa, and the 2 FMCA shows.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Because I was just going to say, I really feel like this is a product that you don't appreciate until you get behind the wheel and actually experience it for yourself.
Yeah, and then we kind of try to get the coaches around the country, different dealerships, and put out on, if you watch our website, we try to put out on our website, hey, we're going to have our coach at wherever in this city, and it'll be there for, we try to do that because you are correct. The way to sell our product, get behind the wheel or get in the front seat of it. Yeah. Doesn't matter which one you're in, you will know it like that.
Yep.
So I know you mentioned one platform that's gonna start installing at the factory. There's other manufacturers where you can get it
as a factory
option.
We have a few different manufacturers. Rev offers our product on a lot of their stuff as a factory option. Phoenix Cruiser offers it as a factory option. Hoosier Cruiser, which are both kind of small, but they're E-Series based. They both offered as factory option. Dynamax, Winnebago is just starting to come on. We have some others. I won't throw those out yet, but we have others that are coming. Just truly check with either us or your manufacturer if that's something you really want as a vehicle out of the factory with it. There are more all the time coming on board with us.
If somebody were to have this installed aftermarket, what type of warranty are you looking at with it?
We've got a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty on the suspension, a 50,000 4-year on the wearables. But I will tell you, on our suspension on a motorhome, I don't see anybody wearing any of our stuff out.
That's great, 100,000-mile warranty.
Well, and that's basically written around the ambulance side of stuff because they put lots of miles. But truly, I mean, we do our best to stand behind anything. I mean, if somebody's having a problem, we will take care of them. That is one of the things that our company is very good about. We want our customers satisfied. Word of mouth sells more of our product than anything.
In my younger days, I did drive an ambulance for a while, and I really could have probably appreciated a product like that, because there are some times when you're going around a corner that, you're worried because that box in the back really starts to lean.
Well, and you have a EMT back there trying to put an IV in. So, I mean, truly the way they kind of went into the ambulance market, and it was a little bit before I started there, was with the neonatal stuff. And apparently there's a frequency with a premature baby that if they get outside of a frequency range, it causes lots of problems. Well, University of Texas or somebody did a study and went through all this, and they determined our system kept it within inside that range. So they started doing some neonatal stuff, and from there they'd get into a house, and you drove an ambulance. Well, you drove one with and one without. Well, we want it on this one too. And I mean, it just kind of snowballed, and it rolled really fast.
Yeah, I bet.
I think that's all of our questions for you, Wayne. Unless there's something that we missed, there's something that maybe we should have highlighted that we didn't ask you.
No, I think we hit the highlights. Again, if anybody has any questions about our product, wants to know more information, liquidspring.com, or contact me direct, wells@liquidspring.com. And pretty much my phone number's all over anyway. My cell phone number, if you want to call it direct, is 503-709-8901, or reach out to the office any way you want to do it. But if you want more details, please reach out to somebody from Liquid Spring. We will give you anything we can.
All right, great.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
We want to thank Echo One Adventures for sponsoring our trip to the FMCA convention. Echo One Adventures is a company that does electrical installs in all types of RVs and rents travel trailers fully outfitted for off-grid living. To learn more about them, go to EchoOneAdventures.com. Thanks again to Echo One Adventures for their support.
Welcome back, everybody, to Day 4, Episode 2, out here at the FMCA convention in beautiful Tucson, Arizona. Up next, we have a company called Grouper, and we have Steve Burke. Steve is with Grouper. And Steve, if you could just kind of introduce yourself and tell us what your role at Grouper is.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys, for having me. I appreciate it. So my name's Steve Burke. I've been in corporate America a long time, and like a lot of people in corporate America, you do a lot of jobs that don't necessarily have a lot of benefit to society. Sometimes you feel like, right? And you're kind of like, hey, what can I do that has a little meaning? I found this company, Grouper, who is out there trying to make people's lives better by helping them be more social, which is a really big problem in our country right now, with people socially isolating, especially through COVID and things like that. So it's one of those things that you come across, you think, wow, I could really make a difference doing this, right?
Okay, nice.
And so how would you best describe Grouper itself and how it works?
Sure, yeah. So this is a very common question because we're so new, and a benefit like this hasn't existed before we just created it. People know a lot about gym membership benefits as part of healthcare plans, but people have never experienced a social fitness benefit, so to speak. And really all it is we try to meet people where they're at, right? So a lot of people don't want to go to the gym, but maybe they go meet their friends to play bridge, or they go play golf or pickleball, or any number of things that people are passionate about it, right? People here are really passionate about RVing, right? And it's the same concept. What we want to do is help people enjoy whatever passion they have that keeps them social, because being social is really important to people's health as they age. and that's what it's all about.
Okay. And it's not so much a physical activity, then it's a social activity. I mean,
Yeah.
just them getting together, enjoying what they like to do.
Yeah, and that's where it seems too good to be true, right? You're like, really, just hanging around my friends is good for my health? And the answer is yes, 100%, without question. It's been proven through hundreds of different experiments and research projects that people who are social live longer, live happier, and live more healthy. And that's kind of what the basis is. Yeah.
Okay. Do you work with healthcare plans, programs, and things like that?
Yeah.
And if so, how does somebody find out if their healthcare accepts the grouper program? Am I saying that right?
You're saying that exactly right. And you
Okay.
just brought me back, right? I probably should put that in the explanation of grouper. So grouper as a social fitness benefit falls within Medicare Advantage and Medicare supplement plans, which a lot of people would call Plan C. As in Medicare. Medicare A and B is like your standard Medicare, and then everything else is like an add-on, right? If you want to add prescription drug, if you want to add on specialty services, right? So it kind of falls within Plan C, which is a lot of specialty services and physical fitness benefits and things like that. So it's currently a benefit that is included with a lot of Medicare Advantage and Medicare supplement plans. And we work today with about 30% of the overall market. Hopefully we'll get to 100% one day, but we're just we're a startup and we're out there trying to make it happen. As a Medicare benefit, you have to be 65, right, to qualify for Medicare. So it's currently for 65 and older people. Really, what they do is they go to our site and they enroll with us, and then we take their medical information, whatever their company they work with, their ID number, and we double check to make sure that that's an actual plan, and then they're the actual member that holds that plan, and then we tell them, hey, great news, you're eligible, and how would you like to use your benefit? Like, what's your passion, right? And if you happen to be a member of FMCA, what we'll do is we'll reimburse them for their membership dues to FMCA to try to encourage them to continue to be a member and continue to be active in their passion.
The person interested actually works through Grouper and not through their Medicare Advantage
Correct.
plan.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah, you're exactly
okay.
right. Yeah. So we offer this benefit, and then we go to all the healthcare plans and say, hey, wouldn't this be a great benefit to offer your members, right? And they say, yeah, we'll include that. And then we make a deal with them that says, hey, look, if we can get people to enroll and we can prove to you that they're being active, right, you'll pay us a little bit, right, to help reimburse us for all that effort that we put out, right, in helping people be more active.
And can you talk a little bit about how do you prove that they're active? How do they let you know that, hey, I did attend this FMCA? Do you need photos or?
No photos. It's I would say it's a little bit on the honor system, right? We try to make it not so burdensome for people, right? Because then people won't do it. So we make it pretty simple. We send them a note once a month, and we say, hey, were you active this month? About how many times did you engage in your passion? And that's it, right? They let us know, and then we have that kind of document trail of them saying, yes, I was active.
And is that just through email?
We can do it through email. We're working on doing it through text, right? So you could just apply Y or N, right? As simple as that. And then they could always just go to our website, log in, and report there.
Oh, that's easy too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all three easy ways.
And is there like a minimum amount of times that you have to be active in order to qualify? Socially active, I guess?
Yeah, so there is a minimum. It's one.
Oh, great.
So pretty simple. If we do have the ability for people to be virtual as well, because not everybody can get out and do things. We want to try to be sensitive to people who need some social interaction as well, but maybe have to do it over Zoom or they have to play, some sort of online games or something. So what we do is we say you have to play at least with another human being on the other end, right? You can't play against a bot and count it as social interaction, right? Nice. We're not allowing AI to be social anymore, right? But if you do that, you have to do it a little bit more times. I think it's 5 times a month if you're going to be. It's not in person, right? Gotcha. If it's more of a virtual activity.
Okay. And I know you said you were a young company. Maybe you said just how long. How long has Grouper been active?
The name Grouper has only been around for 2 months. That's really new. We rebranded ourselves. We used to be known as Element 3 Health, and that company went through some different iterations of what it did. We weren't always the company we are now. But what we found is the Element 3 Health was a tricky name. When people saw that, they thought we were trying to sell them health insurance, which we're not, right?
Yeah.
We're trying to give them a great social benefit. Someone else can sell them the insurance part of it, right? We just try to be part of different insurance parts.
Kenny just went on like a long 2-week caravan trip with several people that were Medicare age, I think.
Yes.
So like 2 weeks on the road. So that would caravanning with a group of people, something like that would count.
Absolutely, yeah. So for us, it's all about being social, right? I think people are really stuck in, healthy is jogging or lifting weights or something like that. And I think what we're trying to change the narrative is like, that's not what being healthy is only about, right? It's also really, really important for you to have friends that look forward to seeing you, right? That can help you out when you're having a bad day, or notice maybe when you don't look so good or something like that, right? Those little things are really, really important for people. Not only, to help you when you need help, but for your mental health, right? To feel like you have people in your life that care about you, right? It's uplifting, and I think, you guys probably know, you travel around to all these events, you probably meet tons of people that you see, year in year out that make you smile, right?
Yeah.
You feel good,
Absolutely.
right? And all of that's good for people. I think the statistic I saw that really kind of put a nail on it for me was being socially isolated is 15 times more damaging to your health than smoking 15 cigarettes a day,
Wow.
right? And that one really kind of was like, whoa.
That's an eye opener.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's what we're trying to kind of change the narrative a little bit, make people realize that, hey, doing these things like going caravanning with your friends is a healthy activity, right? It's really good for you. Helps you feel better.
Sean just mentioned that caravan that I went on, and everybody in that caravan, I think I was the only one not on Medicare.
Oh, okay.
Most likely, my wife and I. But you would be surprised of, and I don't mean this insulting in any way, based on their age, you would be surprised how spry, energetic they were. That Sabrina and I were the ones that were like, all right, guys, I think it's getting kind of late. It's time to turn in. These guys were ready to just like party all night. I mean, and I feel like it's, one, they were being social, but also just being active. They're still taking their RVs out. They're in a big group. They're having, a great time, seeing something new. And I felt like this must be the secret to kind of staying young, is to still stay active, still interact with one another, and not just sit home by yourself and maybe watch TV.
You're absolutely right. That is exactly what it's all about. The people who are more active in doing their passions and spending time with friends are just more healthy. It's a proven fact at this point that it's really good for you.
Yeah, not just mentally, but physically as well.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
And you
incredible.
saw a lot of that if you saw the Blue Zones. That was a really popular, documentary recently.
Oh, yeah,
On
yeah,
Netflix.
And that was the base theme of it. It was like these people who kind of have something to go do day in, day out, and it keeps them out in their community, keeps them active, was kind of the key to their success. Yeah.
And so you're partnered with FMCA. How did that partnership come about?
Yeah, so we've been going around trying to find every passion under the sun, right? And you name it, right? And it's a really interesting exercise because not everybody knows every passion that everyone does, right? And maybe there's some things that you thought, I would never do that. That doesn't look good to me. But then you go and spend some time with people who are doing it, and you're like, wow, right? Now I know why everyone likes this so much. But we found FMCA through a mutual friend that also works with the Academy of Model Aeronautics, so the model airplanes.
Yeah.
Lucky enough that we did some great work with them. They're like, hey, you should go talk to our friends over there at FMCA, and we called them up, and I got to tell you, working with them has been fantastic as an organization. And I think sometimes the leadership really sets the tone for a lot of these organizations. You can kind of tell how well they operate by meeting the leaders. And I tell you, what was impressive to me about FMC in particular was how much they kind of run that balance between their commercial partners and their membership, and being really sensitive to both the needs of both and not overdoing it in one side or the other, right? So they're really super engaged with both sides, and they make sure it's a good experience for both their partners and their members, which I think sometimes gets lost a little bit with other organizations. But they've been great. I've really enjoyed working with them so far.
Yeah, and we've worked with FMCA for a few years now. We feel exactly the same. Like every person that we have interactions with at FMCA have been nothing but gracious and very easy, just easy to work with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, super friendly people. Fit our mission really well, right?
Yeah.
Friendly and social.
I think your company is going to grow a lot in the next few years because I feel like even, I do medical research for a living, and there's a lot of studies going on now, and you're seeing results coming out now that the social aspect, especially in an elderly population, is so important. And anything that all of us as a country can do to help keep those people social and active is beneficial to all of us, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
I think we've all been hearing about the boomers for a lot of years now, right? And they're pushing into that age bracket now. And yeah, we need to take care of them, right? We need to make sure that they feel just as much part of society as they did before, that they're not being forgotten, right? And gosh, we can learn a ton, right, from all of those folks. There's a lot of experience there to share with us. But if they're sitting alone at home, right, that's not going to happen.
And then as far as like qualification goes, if people have like pre-existing medical issues, is there any qualification that people need to be aware of?
No, not at all. It's a benefit that comes with their Medicare Advantage and Medicare supplement plans. So, it's covered by their premium. They pay us nothing. They just enroll with us, and we find out what their passion is and send them a check for their dues. And then it's on us to kind of collect their activity and so we take all the risk, right, for their benefit at the end of the day.
Interesting. Okay.
and for people that are interested, I know you have a booth here at the show, but people that aren't at the show, how do they find out more information about Grouper?
Yeah, the easiest way I would say is to go to our website, which is hellogrouper.com. Grouper spelled like the fish, right? Grouper. Okay. Yeah, there's lots of information there. We are currently building a directory of all the different clubs and groups and associations that we work with, so people can go there just to find a local group, for one. We have a lot of information there in terms of like seminars and things like that on healthy living and eating, and sometimes it's we got learn to play pickleball stuff on there, all kinds of things, right? That could get you into a new passion or kind of find a new group near you. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. I think that's all of our questions, Steve, but is there something that maybe Sean and I might have missed that we should have highlighted that we didn't ask you?
No, I think the one thing that I always try to emphasize is that we don't sell healthcare, right? It's we don't charge anything, right? It's a covered benefit that's already part of people's Medicare Advantage and supplement plans, and we're just there to try to create this new benefit for people that helps encourage them to continue to be out there active in their community and be social.
I think today's episode was all about the future and the future of RVs and the community behind them. As you heard in this episode, I had the pleasure of test driving a Class A RV that had the liquid spring system installed, and with it came increased comfort, control, and handling. It truly transforms your ride experience and gives you the confidence to go further. And with Grouper helping us stay active, social, and feel younger, hopefully we will see more people enjoying the RV lifestyle well into their golden years. We want to thank FMCA for having us out at this year's convention, and we'd like to thank all of our great guests. I think it was a good mix of service and products, and just a small taste of what you'd see at an FMCA convention. If you haven't been out to one yet, head over to FMCA's website to find out when and where their next show will be. Thanks again to Echo One Adventures for sponsoring our travels to the convention, and thank you, Battleborn Batteries and Wholesale Warranties, for sponsoring all of our episodes. One more thing before you go, if you could take the time to leave us the rating or review on your favorite podcast platform, we would really appreciate it, as these ratings help us reach a larger audience. Thank you, and safe travels. Looking to get out there and stay out there? Battleborn Batteries lithium-ion batteries are here to power your RV, marine, and off-grid adventures. Designed as an easy drop-in replacement for traditional lead-acid batteries, these reliable solutions have 2 to 3 times the power, charge 5 times faster, are a fifth of the weight, and last 10 times longer. Offered in a variety of models in unique sizes and shapes, ranging from 50 amp hour to a robust 270 amp hour, and backed by a 10-year warranty. Battleborn batteries are built to fit your needs and power your experiences. On the road, on the water, and off the grid, reliable power is here. Check them out at battlebornbatteries.com.